Why do we believe in extraterrestrial aliens? The answer is shocking. Today, believing in aliens is more a topic for memes than real expectation to make contact with them. But throughout history, mankind has repeatedly turned to the idea of the existence of sky gods and extraterrestrials, then romanticizing them and then using them as a horror story. And according to a recent survey, 20% of Americans believe that extraterrestrial species have already existed and visited Earth, and 68% believe that extraterrestrial intelligence exists. There's no single answer from science. Scientists will tell you that the probability of the origin of life in the vast expanse of space is huge, but there is no evidence yet. Talking about aliens, a simple question arises: do you believe in them or not? But what do we actually believe or not when it comes to these extraterrestrials? And why do these issues generally concern humanity so much? The first aliens in history were the Selenites. Legendary Orpheus wrote about the vast land, Selene in Greek means the moon, in which there are many buildings, mountains, and cities. Ancient Greek philosophers Thales, Heraclitus, and Ephesus, Xenophon, believed that this celestial body is inhabited by the nation, and it lives just like the earthly humans. And another, Heraclitus from Pontus, was possibly even able to communicate with a resident of the moon that came to our planet. Having learned, among other things, from the works of the ancient Greek predecessors, the astronomers of new time found evidence of the correctness of their ancient mentors. Great Johann Kepler, for example, wrote about the Selenites in 1610. And he said, they dig huge areas surrounding them with the ground, maybe to get the depth of moisture. Today, any student will understand that this is all about the meteorite impact crater. The possibility of life on other planets was also reflected in the science of the Renaissance period. For example, the 15th century Nicholas of Cusa suggested that the universe is infinite and we are not in its center. Accordingly, life must exist not only on Earth. So aliens appeared next to us in antiquity and almost did not change until the 19th century. They lived on the moon, built cities, and even from time to time visited our Earth to chat with the ancient Greek philosophers. We even have sky gods about the stories and legends of, for example, the Native Americans. And then, by the way, they did not have any super technologies, blasters, and other special effects. Progress accelerated, and by the second half of the 19th century, it became obvious to astronomers that the moon was a lifeless piece of stone. The aliens were evicted from there, it seems, but the former Selenites moved to Mars. And William Herschel spoke of the possibility of life on the red planet in the 17th century. He was the first to prove that the polar caps of Mars are decreasing and increasing depending on the season, and suggested that there is water and therefore life. So the alien mind has found a new residence in the vicinity of the Earth. In 1877, Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli saw channels on the surface of Mars, called them canali. The image was blurry, but the scientist claimed to have had seen straight lines there. He himself did not interpret his observation in any way, but many of Schiaparelli's colleagues decided that these depressions were clearly originated artificially, constructed, that is. The saga with Martian channels lasted until the 70s of the 20th century. There were disputes in the professional community. Some works were written both in defense and hypothesis of artificial structures on Mars and against it. However, the analysis of images of the surface of the red planet taken by Mariner 4 in 1965 showed that the very straight lines observed by astronomers of the past were just an optical illusion. In addition, there was no atmosphere or magnetic field on Mars. it became obvious that if our cosmic neighbor was one suitable for life, then these times passed millions of years ago. But even earlier, the 1920s, astronomer Edwin Hubble proved the existence of other galaxies and made the universe truly endless. Life does not have to huddle at the objects closest to our Earth. It can exist billions of light years away from us. This means that the habitat of extraterrestrial civilizations has expanded indefinitely. While scientists are arguing about life in the solar system, science fiction writers decided not to wait for the end of the battle and brought down an alien invasion in the heads of unsuspected Earthlings. Herbert Wells' The War of the Worlds, written in 1897, was the first classic novel about the invasion of space aliens on Earth. Evil invaders from the vastness of the universe were, according to the writer, precisely the Martians. We can say that this book, The War of the Worlds, marked the beginning of the era of invasions on Earth. For the first time, guests from outer space appeared in it as creatures completely alien to man. The novel not only gives rise to a lot of imitations, but also became a real Bible for several generations of writers, and also inspired many prominent researchers. In general, scientists and science fiction writers worked side by side and often combined these professions together, and Wells himself was a biologist by education, and in addition to literature, seriously worked on the main specialty. Isaac Asimov studied chemistry, and Arthur Clarke graduated from King's College London with degrees in physics and mathematics. Why are aliens from distant worlds so firmly settled in our minds? What do we want from them? What are we looking for towards this meeting and afraid of it? This whole game to search for life on other planets has changed the meaning of God for the modern man. Now they have replaced gods with aliens. The Renaissance, the industrial and scientific revolutions of the 18th and 20th centuries changed beyond recognition the archaic picture of the world with a paradise in heaven and hell underground. The man looked through a telescope and found neither God nor angels. Then he flew under the clouds, entered orbit, landed on the moon, and now through the lenses of microscopes we find bacteria and viruses cause diseases not punished given by gods. Hurricanes, floods, volcanoes, eruptions, earthquakes, the favorite methods of influencing a person that God resorts to, also quite explainable today. Scientific progress has triumphed on all fronts. Aliens possess all the traits that we previously endowed with the gods. They are smarter than us, their civilizations are millions of years old, and the most brilliant inhabitants of the earth often cannot comprehend the motives of guests from outer space. Sometimes representatives of a higher race do not even pay attention to us. Now, where are these aliens? That's the Fermi paradox. Where is everybody? No matter what science fiction authors invite or whatever people believe or what authors invent, the UFO problem in different years has been of interest to the military. Programs for the study of the unidentified flying objects exist in the UK, France, US, USSR, China, Canada, Mexico, India. From 1977 to 1990, the program of the Academy of Sciences for the Study of UFOs and other abnormal phenomena worked in the Soviet Union. For 13 years, the commission had collected and analyzed hundreds of eyewitness accounts. UFOs began to appear at the end of the 19th century and still remain a favorite topic of the yellow press and various interesting personalities, but it's easy to trace a simple pattern. Interest in alien craft arises simultaneously with the beginning of the active development of aeronautics. And then eyewitnesses describe the alien transport or airships or balloons in the sky. By the end of the 1940s, UFOs began to appear in the form of luminous lights and cigar-shaped objects, moving with great speed. It's easy to guess jet planes and missiles in them. And if you recall that all this happened against a backdrop of a frenzy of fiction in those years, then the picture is quite clear. Flying saucers are the most popular type of UFO among people. They tried to build disc-shaped aeronautics since the 1910s. Work on the creation of such machines was carried out by German and American engineers in the 1930s and 50s. Nothing practical came of it, but photos of the prototypes became, for many, a proof that the US military had contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations or tried to reproduce their technologies. The peak of interest in aliens and UFOs occurred in the 60s, which was not surprising, given the rivalry in space and the arms race between the USSR and the US. A lot of dangerous and mysterious things really flew across the skies, true exclusively of terrestrial origin. And after the relative lull of the 70s and 80s and in the 90s, there was a new surge of interest in the topic of aliens and UFOs due to the several circumstances. In 1993, the most popular series, The X-Files, was launched. It involved millions of people in the hunt for green men. In 1995, the famous mystery film Alien Autopsy released, which for many years remained the holy grail for adherents to of contact theory. Only in 2006, the creators of The Fake confessed everything. However, as often happens, they did not dissuade many believers. The increased interest in the other world in the 90s, it's easy to find more prosaic explanations. First, the Cold War ended and the world was in a state of blissful relaxation. What else to do when the threat of nuclear apocalypse has passed? Come up with a new one, of course, just not so real. And secondly, the massive spread of cheap photo and video equipment has spawned a shaft of new UFO sightings. Having watched all the same X-Files and films like Independence Day, even the Star Trek series, people began to send their murky pictures to television with muddy photographs and trembling videos of Venus, Mars, jet planes, and glare on glass. But do not think that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence left at the mercy of ufologists and other exalted enthusiasts. The equation drawn up in 1960 by astronomer Frank Drake prompted serious scientists to search for alien civilizations. The SETI program has been running for almost 60 years, and although from time to time researchers catch some abnormal signals from space, they all end up being of natural origin. With his equation, the Drake equation, tried to answer the Fermi paradox. Where is everybody? The situation is really amazing. On one hand, in our galaxy, there should be millions of worlds inhabited by intelligent creatures, and on the other hand, scientists have not found a hint of at least some traces of their activities. Today, one of the promising methods for detecting possible life in the universe is the search for terrestrial exoplanets. These are celestial bodies that have a certain mass, density, and chemical composition and are located in the habitable zone of the stars, what we call the Goldilocks zone. In general, scientists are looking for planets that are similar in parameters to Earth, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. So, are we alone in the universe? Mankind may never find the answer to this question, or will know it tomorrow, but we have so long and diligently invented aliens, endowed them with so many human and superhuman qualities, that meeting with a real alien mind will undoubtedly be the most exciting adventure in history. And this is on House and Wise by Vicky Verma. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.